forces that are threatening to steal our revolution from ourselves. We even pointed out as the SACP where we think this fight back campaign is coming out from. We are therefore not surprised at all about talks now of political plots, as we had already warned about this. So I inject na lento makomanisi. Kade sayisho maqabane. Now, this fight back campaign, unfortunately, has also been accompanied by some of the most regressive and reactionary tendencies that should not be allowed to find space in our movement, like tribalism, black chauvinism, and racist slurs. One of the most dangerous, and this is where the working class has a responsibility, President, one of the most dangerous things is actually to wage a fight back campaign against protecting our state in the name of radical economic transformation. We must reject that. We must give content to what we mean by radical economic transformation, not as a shorthand to defend the corporate capture of the state. Now, this fight back campaign, we want the SACP analyzed this in May. It's not solely just directed at the president of the ANC and the president of the Republic, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. It may as well be directed at that. But it's actually directed at the working class and the poor. And it's directed against all South Africans who want to try and rescue this country from some of the darkest forces that were trying to steal it. It's directed at all those who want the ANC to cleanse and renew itself from the dark days that it had actually found itself. It's an attack on that, this fight back. That's why those who are waging the fight back must be isolated by all South Africans who want progress and for all of us to move forward. That's why, as the SACP, we are also calling for the building of a broader patriotic front to, amongst other things, defend the gains we have made in what we can call the first phase of our national democratic revolution since 1994. What are we talking about when we're talking about the first phase and the gains? Comrades, one of the key gains of the first phase of our democratic revolution was to dislodge the apartheid regime from power, was to have a democratic constitution, was to have the Labor Relations Act, the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, and the right to form and join a trade union. We laid a basis for dealing with gender inequality and to fight against the oppression of women who have laws today and institutions. Those were part of the gains of our first phase of the National Democratic Revolution. We can't drive a second phase of the National Democratic Revolution if we allow those gains to be undermined. Those who are fighting back, who are plotting, they are in essence plotting to destroy the gains that we have made during the first phase of our National Democratic Revolution. Asiyipolitikele le nto, my comrades, and characterize it properly for what it is. That is the message we'd like to bring to this important Congress of this federation. Now, we want to say to our ally, the ANC, I know we're saying this, Comrade President and the delegates, we sometimes get accused of singeni indaba zabanye abantu. When we talk about the ANC as ngeni indaba zabanye abantu, sikhuluma ngekhaya lethu sonke. The ANC belongs to all of us. It does not only belong to those special people who may happen to be holding leadership positions in the ANC at whatever level. Umbutho wethu lo, it's a people's movement. We want to say to the ANC, don't just allow this thing to go unattended. We're going to raise this matter of plots at the next alliance meeting. Because this thing, as we say, is not only a threat to the ANC, it's a threat to our revolution as a whole. And it must be discussed and it must be dealt with. We must go to the bottom of it. That is the position of the SACP, for the sake of our revolution and for the sake of our future. The next message, President, is on a very important matter that we would like this Congress to reflect upon: the necessity to reconfigure the functioning of our alliance and the role of the working class in this alliance. You know, as the South African Communist Party, we have been reflecting, Comrade Soli, one of the biggest mistakes we have made as the SACP over the years is not to publish our political reports to the Central Committee. And we must publish all of them since 1994, so that we share with the working class and the rest of our country what are the things that we discuss and why sometimes do we come up with particular positions. And we are often correct. Asithakathi samakomanisi. Siya-analyze. Uma kuthiwa ukuthakatha kwethu kukuphi? I-analysis. Ikona kuthakatha kwethu-ke lokho. And we come out characterizing things as they are because we've analyzed them. We have said this alliance of ours is very important. Going forward, we need this alliance. But at the same time, we have said the manner it is actually functioning is now outdated. It needs to be changed. We took a decision in 1994 as the SACP and as the Alliance. We're going to contest the elections through the ANC. The ANC is going to lead the elections. But what has unfortunately happened in the process, the election and the governance of the country has now, in some instances, been defined as the exclusive responsibility of the African National Congress and not the Alliance, and we are saying that is wrong. We are saying that is wrong. We must reconfigure the alliance to reflect the fact that it's an alliance, yes, led by the African National Congress, but it can't be that major decisions will only be made by the ANC by virtue of the fact that it leads the alliance. That is incorrect. That, irrespective of what is actually happening. Gatekeeping. Kuthi uma ugqoke isikibha esibovu, you do not deserve to participate in particular meetings. We have allowed these things to happen in the name of the alliance. Now it's beginning to eat the ANC itself. This gatekeeping and all these other problems. You know, President, one of the main things that I think we've somehow dropped the ball between the SACP and the Cosatu is political education. One of the things we want to say, coming out of this Congress, we need to deepen the political education. I'll tell you why, one of the reasons. You know, factionalists and gatekeepers, they hate political education because they don't want members who have a political understanding, because they will be able to manipulate them easily. Fanele ube nabasebenzi nama-members angahablile ukuze ukwazi ukuba-manipulate ubatshela ukuthi abaye le instead ukuthi kiwe le. Political education is even very important just for that, not only for that. That is why we cannot drop the ball. Part of driving the second phase of the National Democratic Revolution is to have political education. Now, what do we mean by a reconfigured alliance? It's simple. We need an alliance that does not only work together when it's election time. It must be taking up issues of our people at all times. The reason why we see some of the things we see with Protestant communities today is because we are absent as the Alliance. Let's speak the truth. It can't be that a community wants a library, then it's going to destroy a clinic. That's not progress. It's not moving forward. Why are those things happening in our own communities? I also want to give a challenge. Western Cape Benson there. I was saying this. Ngideployiwe kuthiwa nguMinister of Transport ngizobuyela kule nto njani. Ngiya eWestern Cape ngihlangana ne-Alliance President. Ngithi ubani oshisa itimela eCape Town? I-Alliance ithi ayazi. I got worried. I must say this. Who is our intelligence if our alliance structures are not our intelligence? If they don't know who is banning the trains and who is benefiting from banning the trains which are carrying the working class every day. Now, we are saying, therefore, a reconfigured alliance must be with the people all the time. It can't just be going to the people when it's election time. There must be serious consultation amongst ourselves and to agree on key issues that we need to agree upon in order to be able to move forward. Yes, deployment, we have an interest, not because we want positions, but we have an interest. Who are these people given responsibilities to exercise state power? We have an interest in that. You can't tell us what we can't have an interest on who exercises state power. We do have an interest because Tinaga, as the SACP, we are not a non-governmental organization. We're a political party with the deepest interest in state power and how it is exercised. So should Cosatu have an interest in that, if we are to be able to move forward. Now, and the reconfiguration of the alliance must happen at all levels. We want to speak the truth and we want you to debate this. We went to our Congress here party last year. I haven't seen our delegates at SACP so angry in a long time. They said, reconfigure the alliance, otherwise we contest the election separately and independently. Because the way we've been treated on the ground has just been completely unacceptable. Now, we say to comrades, no, don't be driven by anger. They say, tell us the options. What are the alternatives? Now, we have then said, if we are to able to move forward, it's in the interest of the alliance as a whole that we reconfigure ourselves and move together towards the next election, operating differently than in the manner that we have not been. We want Cosatu to support us on this. Because it's not just an SACP matter. Now, Comrade President, let me raise the last set of issues. The SACP has come to you here today, and thanks for the invitation and the platform, which we must not abuse, to say we want to make a call for the working class to embark on action. No one is going to listen to you if we are weak on the ground. If Cosatu is weak and has no strength, no one is going to take you seriously. We are concerned as the SACP. We are glad that you're open about it. We have lost members. We are not as strong as perhaps you were 10, 15 years ago. That's a correct admission so that we are able to address those problems. But action is important. What is this action that we want to suggest some of it to you today? We took a resolution at our August Central Committee this year, And we said we're going to go to Cosatu and engage Cosatu and engage SANCO, engage our allies, even engage the African National Congress. Though these, we believe, are issues that are of interest to the ANC, but the working class must be at the center of them. Firstly, we said, comrades, we really need to wage a visible militant campaign on national health insurance. If we don't wage a visible campaign, we're in trouble. The bourgeoisie in the health sector has started mobilizing. Even some of our progressive professionals are being mobilized today to say the national health insurance is going to kill the health system in South Africa. And they are lying. What they are scared of is that they want to continue with a health system that is only benefiting the rich. We do need a visible campaign coming out of this Congress of Cosatu. Let's see Cosatu working together with them, struggling for an NHI. With Nehau, Denosa, and who else? Sepao from a pharmaceutical angle in the forefront, and the rest of us going in there. We need to pull together a front of organizations to fight for a NHI. We have also taken a decision that we wanted to put before Cosatu. That, comrades, it's high time that we seriously take up the problems at local government level in our country. And there are many of them. Some. Some. The SACP wants to say to you, we want you stronger and more united, Maqabang. I must say I was saddened, President, the day I watched on television a service for those firemen who perished at Johannesburg. And I couldn't see Cosatu Nesam. I got worried, I must say, Komanis. We want you united. We will work with you, comrades, as some, because you are crucial. We are not going to transform a local government if we have got a weak and a divided sum. But that must be a struggle that must be taken up by the entirety of Cosatu. This distance between our people and those who have got responsibility at local government level is something that we have to deal with, and many other challenges that we have. Another very big campaign that we need to take up is that of building an affordable, accessible, safe, reliable, and integrated public transport system that properly services the working class. Deploy as a Minister of Transport. My biggest frustration, I'm not feeling a power of organized workers in the sector. You can't allow this metro rail that makes workers to be so late every day. Cosatu must take up this campaign, work together with government. We address the issue of safe and affordable transport for the working class in this country. All modes of transport. Now, I then also want to touch on a matter, President, which sometimes now gets misinterpreted and wants to be used to the issue of our roads and road networks in this country, which is something that, including Mongameli, e-tolls. I want to say this. We have agreed with, because the SACP position on e-tolls is simple, is that The model of e-tolls that was followed was wrong. If we were to start afresh today, we would have to do this thing very differently. That's the position of the SACP. Now, the issue that we have to tackle together as the alliance, maybe I may say this, that as a deployee, as a minister, I'm willing to engage with Cosatu the moment you finish this Congress on this question. How do we fund our road networks in South Africa? This is the most critical question. How do we fund our public road networks? Do you raise the fuel levy? Do you take the money from the fiscus? Do you use what we call user pay? That is the issue that we are faced with now. The fact of the matter is that Cosatu may not like e-tolls, and many other South Africans. The fact of the matter is, these beautiful highways, Gauteng, must be funded. How do we fund these highways? I would like this Congress here, Cosatu, to come up with a much clearer resolution on that and be able to confidently engage government. Mina, as a poor deployee, I am happy to spend hours and hours sitting with Cosatu until we are able to find a common understanding and deal with this problem once and for all. But we can't run away from that question. And also, let's not be tempted to be populist about that. Let's face these issues concretely. The president of the ANC, who is president of the Republic, said these things yesterday, that they are awkward things. For instance, let me raise another awkward thing, President, which we think must not happen. Sometimes I get calls because we are deployed. We are at a driver's license station or somewhere else. We've been sitting here, Comrade Blade, since 7. It's 9 o'clock now. We are getting no service because the workers have a meeting. We can't allow that as a federation. We really cannot allow that. Because part of back to basics is to understand that as workers, we are also servicing the broader working class community. If the Communist Party doesn't say this, who is going to say it? It's the right wing, which will say it with an aim of smashing the trade union movement. We are saying this because we love this Cosatu and this federation of ours and must do things in a manner that builds confidence in yourselves. Sikhuluma ngothando njengane zawethu kwe-federation nabasebenzi bethu. Now, the last 2 points. We must work together to mobilize what we call the motive forces for land and agrarian transformation. Cosatu has got a very important role to play, because amongst those we need to organize are farm workers. And farm workers are the least organized and the most vulnerable. By the way, there's also a phenomenon that is taking place, which you know about, mainly in white-owned commercial farms. We are seeing the mushroomings of informal settlements. In rural areas, something that was not there maybe 15, 20 years ago. The reason, it's farm workers who are being retrenched and being replaced by even worse and unorganized workers, normally pitting workers from the SADC region against South African workers. And we must organize all those workers so that employers are not able to use a section of the working class against the other. But also what is important, comrades, to organize around land. We want to say this as the SACP. Restitution is very important. We understand it's even emotional. Those people whose land was taken in particular areas they can claim, but that is too slow. Let's rather argue for land redistribution. Whether it's under claim or not, let's make more land available for our people. Land redistribution. That is the campaign we must drive together with Cosatu in mobilizing the motive forces. Also, let's fight against, everybody's talking about land today. Populists are talking about land. Demagogues are talking about land. There is a lot of confusion. We need to get in there and also provide ideological and organizational clarity. That is one of the calls that we are making to Cosatu. Sengiyavala ke President. Sicela ukunifisela inkongolo enhle engane zakwethu. We wish that Cosatu comes out of this much more stronger, much more clearer about where we are going to. There can be no second, more radical phase of the National Democratic Revolution without a strong and militant Cosatu. Amandla.
Oliver Tambo baphela bantu, awu baphela bantu, Tambo baphela bantu. Oliver Tambo baphela bantu, Tambo baphela isizwe, Tambo baphela bantu. Oliver baphela bantu, Tambo baphela bantu. Tambo baphela bantu, Tambo baphela bantu, awusapheli isizwe, Tambo baphela bantu, awuse bayasirithreja, bayaskeshwalaza, basifaka imlulaza, baphela bantu. Bayasirithreja, siyakheshwalizwa, sifama lebabroka, baphela, Tambo baphela bantu, Tambo saphela isizwe, Tambo baphela bantu, awu Tambo saphela isizwe, Tambo baphela bantu. Thank you very much, the South African Communist Party. Nopala jikelele, omakomanisi, sizwile nopala. And thank you for being frank with us on the issues confronting us as the working class. And indeed, we shall discuss. We are coming to that point now, indeed, comrades, but we'll first have a presentation. Mhlamba ke ngithi ninyakaze nje igazi linyakaze futhi before singene la nivuke nasebuthongweni. Before siyothatha report kunobhala jikelele weCosatu bese siyaxoxa. Ngoba ima kuzawuqala manje umsebenzi lesize ngawo. Sithatha iCosatu sibeke center sikhulume ngayo nje oba yilokho abasithume kona ekhaya. Ayikho enye. Angithi, we are here to discuss our federation, Cosatu, as the most critical, the most important tool and the instrument, hope and the voice of the workers in South Africa and the globe. That with a living, militant, vibrant, fighting Cosatu, workers in South Africa still have a voice. Thank you, SACP. Thank you very much. Ngifuna ukuthi silungiselela sigcobe inkundla ilunge. Mayeza unobhala jikelele wethu la. Our hearts and mind are well set and well prepared to get us to do what the gist of the party says. Bona njengamakomanisi, if they are accused ngokuthi bayathakatha, baya-analyze, ukuthakatha kwabo uku-analyze. So we'll be targeting here, we'll be analyzing our federation, we'll strip it into pieces, put that piece and that one there and that one, and put things together and come up with one Cosatu and move on. Socialism. Ngafuna mabhimbi. Thina siyobuya nayo ileyo bengiyicula. Manje ngiyezwa nani ngifuna ucula le Okay, thank you very much. Ngifuna sisukumise unobhala, akangasukumi ningakamsukumisi. Umandela uthayhlome, Umandela uthayhlome ihlasele, Osiyayo, owesizwe lusana. Umandela uthayhlome, Umandela uthayhlome ihlasele.
Comrade, we are 6 hours behind time. We are 6 hours behind time, and we run the risk of not concluding the agenda of this Congress. Yesterday, we indicated, Comrade, that we are not going to present the political report. We want it to be regarded as read. We just want to emphasize few issues on it, Comrade. That all the reports that we are going to present to this Congress are CEC report discussed in the CEC to be debated in this meeting. we had intended to present the report in an overview approach, followed by the discussion by the Congress. When we discuss this report, we must discuss together with the resolutions on those particular sections. So the first report is a political report, and comrades, as they speak on that report, they will be able to introduce the resolution that are being formulated by unions. What I just want to raise in the report, which was discussed later, that despite the international balances of forces, which there are resolution talking to it, the question of the NTR, the alliance and reconfiguration of the alliance, the state power, we want to raise an appeal to you, comrade, that as you debate, please debate these issues of coalition. Because we see all the political parties start to talk about coalition governments. Where do we stand as Cosatu on this matter? The current arrangement after the local government, we've seen our movement doing a coalition nanoma wonke umuntu. AIC, EFF, at some point in time, they were in collision with the DA. Yes. In one of the municipalities, the African National Congress was governing together with DA. We need to have a debate and discussion so that we can understand this quest of power vis-a-vis the principle that we stand on. So, comrade, the report is regarded, Comrade President, as presented. We should be able to engage on it. And we have to look in terms of time how we manage the situation, because in terms of the program, we are still at yesterday's session. We had intended to dedicate about 4 hours on the political report. But it may not happen in this way, because in terms of the program now, we are supposed to be presenting the organizational and the financial report, comrades. So, Comrade President, here is the report presented. I think you can lead on the discussion.
Thank you very much, GS. Indeed, at the work that you, as the Secretariat, have done, this is the approach. We thought it would allow Congress to have more time debating the reports as you have been having them for all the time. According to my watch, we're at 12 o'clock. And we begin that process. I know that at 1 we'll break for lunch and still come back and still do that work. It's a very critical work. As I said, that's when we actually begin to do the work. I'm already beginning to look around. Yes, I see Pop Crew. And you will follow. Okay, kusayilezo wamanje President Pop Crew.
Comrade President, we sat here yesterday and we got very disappointed. And I don't want to say before we start the report, I'm disappointed. because I can't be disappointed by my federation. But what I think, comrade, we're raising to address is, even if the General Secretary is of the view that the report is read by everybody, but we need a summary from the General Secretary on the report presented. It can't be just taken that let's engage on the report, but we want our office bearers to, especially the General Secretary, at least to go through the report, make a summary of everything, and sometimes give a linkage on issues that we have, between the present issues that we are going to discuss and issues that we discussed before. Where are we in as far as those things are concerned? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Popcorn. NUM?
Thank you, President. Nanandoi. Aye, simosho man. Kansapinto anyway, ma. Thank you, President. We somewhat concur with Pope Kruguchi. At least the report should have been, or the executive summary of the report should have been presented to Congress. However, we can't cry for spilled milk. Sihlabela mgama. Venturing into the debates in the political report. When the GS was in the podium there, and he has nobody busy by podium, by pulpit, pulpit, he alluded to the issue of coalitions.
Yeah, maybe NUM. I would pause with the GS just so that we really close that one. I know now you want to get into what we have asked you to do, to discuss. I hear you very well. With what Pope Crow just said, which you agree with, and our short consultation here with the GS, is that indeed we can allow him to do or present an executive summary. If with due apologies, we would accept that we allow the GS to do that. Thanks very much. Let's do that, comrades. Indeed, we're listening, and I'll invite back the GS to do exactly that.
Thank you, Comrade President. We indeed agreed earlier when we were preparing for this report that we'll do executive summary. But as you may imagine, that an executive summary of a 200-page report is long too. But I'll try my best, comrade, to be as quickly as possible. We said, comrade, in the report as we discuss it in the CEC, that the report that we are going to be presenting, in all the report, will deal with the political section, the organizational, the social and international. That will present the highlight or executive summary as we already indicated. But we took a decision, comrade, in the CEC that in presenting the report, we are not going to be accounting on what happened from the previous Congress to this, because that work was presented in the Central Committee, and we took a resolution on. What we'll do, we will then talk on the issue, on the current issues, and be able to move forward in terms of what is needed urgently. So we said the report will be almost in 5 stages: to do the assessment on the balances of forces, on the alliance, on the party and the state power, on what is called, or the NASREC outcome, as well as what is called in the report, the new dawn, the balance of class and political forces, and conclude later with the mid-term vision that we need to address in replacement of the 2015 plan. On the international balances of forces, comrade, we're asking the question as to whether anything has changed since the last 3 years in analyzing those particular issues, comrade. And we come with the conclusion that nothing has changed. In fact, things has been worse. That the capital accumulation and its negative effect on workers cannot be ignored. In fact, it has deepened. And that the working class is increasingly faced with a profound reality, the urgent need for even more sophisticated form of solidarity among the organization, tighter coordination of the class on a global scale. And that should we fail to do that, I think we're going to be in very, very difficult situations. The report went on, comrade, to say the US imperialism has been very, very aggressive. Because in the US, war and business are just 2 sides of the same coin. They intend to continue their expansion in a very unlimited way. When their approach fails, comrade, in terms of trying to engage others, they use war as an excuse of attacking those countries, particularly those countries whose resources the US economy needs. And we're making this point, comrade, that sometimes we prefer Democrats vis-a-vis the Republican in the US. And the point we're making here is that to us they are the same. It is the US system, irrespective whether it is the Republican or it is the Democrats. The difference is that sometimes the Democrats speak in a softer voice than the Republican, who are very, very aggressive. And we're raising the point that the Americans love Trump, though, because he protects their economy. He punishes those that are operating in other countries, and he calls them to come back home. So we mentioned the US open role in supporting the overthrow of progressive government, particularly in Latin America. In Venezuela and Brazil, it became quite clear the role that the Americans are doing there. Including the recent attack by Israel on Palestinian people, clearly backed by the US. The arms that they are procuring to Israel clearly demonstrate on this. And we're making the point that over the 30 years, US has started 13 wars. Thousands of people have been killed. It is in the DNA of the American government. We're also raising, comrade, their open coordination against the Russian people, including NATO, in their resolution in the last council that they have, that they should be ready at a very short notice to be able to bring together an arm and be able to attack the Russian government. We went on, comrade, also to indicate the development in the Latin America, in Argentina, in Brazil, in Chile, in Cuba, the clearly indication by Trump. So the report raised those issues and it posed the question to us, what are we going to do and what is the contribution that South Africa or Cosatu should be able to do? The same thing, comrade, we analyze the global political economy and the growing inequality in the world. We make the point, as shown in the Oxfam report in 2017, that 82% of the wealth went to the top 1%. That about 3.8 billion people never benefited to this growing economy. And we're making an example, including South Africa, that we're creating billionaires when the poverty on one hand is increasing. So we're making this point, comrade, that the many policies that the world is adopting favors the rich and leave the poor in worse conditions. We're making a reference to the 2018 Wealth Report. But governments, comrade, are continuing with their austerity measures all over the world. And in that respect, we see our own government following that path. So we're asking a question in the report, comrade, that from all this report, how Cosatu should respond, both in substance, form, and the future working class internationalism. What is our role and what contribution should we do in that instance? We're also raising that the Communist Party should be able to intervene in some of the other communist parties, particularly in Africa, to develop our response and how do we make a contribution. So we're making the point, comrade, that in the last 3 years up to now, in the view of the CEC, things have not changed for better, but they are going for worse. In the European Union, we've seen a number of right-wing governments growing, from Italy, everywhere. Coalition government, but mainly led by the right wing. And people are turning to them for answers because some of the left-leaning government has failed them. We then said we must also look what is happening in Africa. That while there must be a positive, pocket of positive, there are still problems in Africa. There are a lot of governments that are corrupt. There are a lot of wars that are going on. There are a number of leaders who want to rule for life. We're making an example, comrade, that the situation in Western Sahara has not changed. that the readmission of Morocco make things worse, and in the manner that the Moroccan government is engaged in bribing African governments to take their position. The illicit financial outflows still continues, and we're asking this question: what role Cosatu should be playing in the building up of trade unions in Africa? So we're making that report, what is happening in Africa. Of course, comrade, in the report we have raised the issues of the growing power of China and the panic that the American government has on China, including the new stance that they've taken on closing the economy and punishing those companies that trade or do business outside America, and that the trade wars is going to affect a number of people, including us. So we go in details, comrade, in the report on what is happening in Africa, and the issue of Francophone, comrade, the question that we as a trade union of the English-speaking countries, we find difficult to communicate with those trade unions that are French-speaking, pose a problem, and we need to engage in addressing these issues. So we're raising the concerns, comrade, that we need to be dealing on. But we raise the issue also of Swaziland, Palestine, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Cuba, Western Sahara, that this Congress must come up with concrete solidarity plan, including the exchange program, and be able as Cosatu to visit these countries to show solidarity. And solidarity in real terms, comrade. In assessing the domestic balances of class forces, comrade, we raise the issue that NTR has to be assessed at all times to determine whether it's on course or not. And we hope that this Congress will be able, in terms of resolution, to speak on that matter. But also raising, comrade, that the breakthrough that we're talking about from 1994 needed to be properly evaluated. And we think the party, as the GS has indicated, we need to be able to engage to see whether we speak with a common voice on these particular issues. We then raise the issues, comrade, of the alliance, the party, and the state power. And we're making few points there, comrade, that the alliance is not working in the manner it's supposed to. That at some point, comrade, we agree in this Congress around 2007, and we talk about the pack of the frustration that we had. And we're convinced at that point by the Communist Party, which no, lento yenu, yokufuna writing pack ayisebenzi. So we raised this issue that it must be reconfigured. So when the party is raising these issues, is raising the issue that we rose at that time, maybe the timing is right now, that we must deal with these issues. This is one of the issues, comrade, that we must be clear on. If we are not coming out quite clear, and we use these issues of, oh, we're the members of the ANC, for us, comrade, we indicated in the report, we have done every possible thing to strengthen the ANC. In Luthuli House, we got the national chairperson, we got the president coming from our ranks. In government,
We got ministers coming from our ranks. We got premiers coming from here, from Cosatu. We get mayors, we got people in parliament coming from Cosatu. But we have realized, comrade, ukuthi ama-comrade ungathi aba overwhelmed when they are now in the ranks and holding some position in the ANC. They start speaking the language. Comrade, don't forget, we are carrying the mandate of the ANC. While that might be correct, but they can't forget the mandate that and the position that they were formulating when they were here in Cosatu. How easy they forget, comrade? And we want a debate, comrade. We ngeke nje sidonate ngabantu. Yithi esidonatayo every time, comrade. Apaswe legislation that is really anti-Cosatu, ama-comrade ekhona eParliament. Sake sabakhulumisa kabi la comrade president, sathi bebelele uma kuphaswa i-legislation enye eParliament. Sabuza ukuthi ade kuphi ama-comrade labuya la eCosatu. We are raising that issue, comrade, of the alliance. We are raising the issue, comrade, of the state power ukuthi si trade union kodwa siyasithanda nathi. Because ubani ongafuni ipower, comrade, siyayifuna, and we must engage in dealing with those issues. We are raising the debate, comrade, on the SACP resolution. Is there in the document. And we are raising the point that we think the party must take the decision. They can't wait for the trade union. And once they have taken the position, Cosatu will engage, comrade. We know that in Cosatu, not everybody is a member of the party or in the ANC. Kunama member with DA khona la khona, nawenkatha and everything. But we managed to take a political direction at given times. And we said we must engage in dealing with those issues. Whether the timing is right or not, but we agreed with the report, comrade says, party is our lifetime insurance. So there's no debate about Tina and party socialism. We may debate the timing and the form in which it should take place, but we can't throw the party under the bus based on this matter. So we'll engage. We'll engage with the 2019 election because it's down the line in relation to those issues. We're already engaging and in preparation for the 2019 general election as Cosatu and participating in the ANC. The report talks to that, how we manage those particular situations. So we'll engage, comrade. The report is quite clear. It says we must speak on this matter moving forward. On the NASREC, comrade, we are worried, comrade. We are worried that there are people who are still pre-NASREC. That the coming together, whether accidentally or not, of the comrade who preferred a particular candidate to meet by accident in one place, make us be surprised with what kind of coincidence abantu abanye basuke eGauteng bayodibana eDurban ehotel by accident. We don't believe it, comrade, honestly. We don't believe ukuthi into enjalo ingenzeka. So we want to engage, comrade, and have a debate, and we should be able to communicate to the ANC and those leaders that we must not allow it to happen. We must be able to send a message. Sathi la sisicasukile. Sathi if president, because I think the African National Congress iyayifuna iface yaka president. Ukuthi ngathi uCyril lo angaswinela ama election. Uma eqeda ukuwina kungaba njani ke simsuse sifake omunye. Sithi ke hayi uma bangakwenzeka lokho comrade kumele ayidissolve le parliament. Qalelwe phansi ke kufakwe iface sibone sawumvotela lo muntu ongena ngeback door. We must debate this issue, comrade. We raise the issues of the new dawn, the question of personalities, as well as the movement resolution, and we're trying to make it distinguished. Ukuthi asingathandi umuntu nje, but asiwathande lama resolution so that azokwazi to be implemented. ANC Comrade Nazrek took many fundamental and progressive resolutions, including the issue of the NHI. We'll discuss when we go to the socio-economic. We raise the issues of corruption as well as the issues of the commission. And our appeal, comrade, Guti, whoever has information, comrade, asiyeni lapha ku commission. Sizobakwazi ukuthi to expose what is there. But we are worried about the slow pace. People are not arrested. Ama hawks, comrade Pope, kagenisincede. Ama docket ayalahleka. Amanye abantu bamesa ama case. When you go to court, cases are withdrawn. We are raising all these issues, comrade, because we do have our demands that we must be able to formulate as we go into the general election. And maybe we need to engage on this issue of funding of the roads. In our previous decision, comrade, sasithe increase kube ne petrol levy. Now, that was not agreed. But later we agreed ukuthi our government indeed increase the petrol levy. We are worried about that issue, comrade. We need to engage and we must agree, no General Secretary, we part ukuthi ama-e-toll asiwafuni, prepare to discuss alternative funding. But ama-e-toll wona cha asiwafuni and asibhadali, comrade. Mhlawumbe abanye sebeyabhadala. Asibhadali, sifuna i-defiance kule nto yama-e-toll. On the balances of class and political forces is the last section that we are raising in the comrade. We want to debate this issue so that when we go to the socio-economic issue, comrade, sike sibe strong into masingayifuni singayenzi. So lento show, comrade, comrade Blade ukuthi asibe visible. Sine program la sithe masiphuma la ku Congress silinde nje i-date siyathi masiphuma la ku Congress siye estradini and sizawuya, comrade, ikakhulukazi on this thing NHI. We want it to be implemented in our lifetime. So we make the conclusion, comrade, that we must debate these 5 issues that we have made. The international balances of forces, both globally and domestically. We must talk about, in that context, how do we position ourselves? How do we deal with the practical solidarity with the Cuban people, with the people of Venezuela, people of Palestine, the people of Brazil, etc., and etc. But even here at home, on the question of Palestine, Western Sahara, we must come out with some practical resolution. We must deal with the NTR, we must deal with the alliance in terms of the reconfigured alliance, we must deal with the question of the state power as we move it on, comrade. And lastly, comrade, as we indicated, was that the issue of the coalition, this idea of coalition government must be debated when we debate the issues of the alliance and the state power. But we must conclude, comrade, by coming quite clear, sitini 2013, 2019 general election. And we're making the point here, comrade, because sometimes, comrade confuses the Cosatu position. The Cosatu position in the 2015, comrade, we have never said we'll vote for the ANC until forever, comrade. We said every time there were election, we will assess, we'll look to the previous manifesto, we'll need to relook at the progress made and decide who do we vote for in the coming election. That's the Cosatu position, comrade, and it will be a Cosatu position until the Congress decide otherwise, that every election will do the assessment before we put our weight behind the African National Congress. Thank you, Comrade President.
Thank you, Comrade General Secretary. There was the executive summary directing us at which areas we want to engage. Is it in order, anyway, if I call you back just to start from where you are, if you are ready? But then that it's now open for Congress, though, yeah, at 1 we shall break for lunch. I want to emphasize that, but the debate is now in the hands of the Congress. I note SAC 2 after NUM.
I don't wish to. Thank you, President. Let's appreciate the summary given by the General Secretary on behalf of the Central Executive Committee. Good work. But before we can address the issue of politics, let's address the issue of speakers from the Alliance who come to the Congress, to Cosatu Congress, speak and leave and miss out on the debates that come out of this Congress. It's a very bad habit. It must stop with immediate effect. Ngoba sizawuthetha sodwa, and these ministers are the ones who have to implement lezi zinto. Otherwise, we should not invite them at all. I hope we will be having, during the course of this Congress, the Minister of Labor, whom we expect that will sit throughout Congress. And yazi ke xa zawuyibamba esinqeni uba kakafiki ngoku ukuthi uzawuzazi into besithethe ngazo ngaphambili. We'd like to have a bite on the issue of international balance of forces, Comrade President, and start with the Trump factor. That powerful man called Donald Trump, who the Americans used their vote to put in power, is the most powerful man in the world, as we all know how powerful militarily the US is. If they like, they can sweep us all here in 1 second. And you take so much power and give to a lunatic. However, we do respect the choice of the American people because they want to put America first. But we do know that there are those who were not for Trump, but they accepted the outcome of a democratic process. Trump is imposing sanctions willy-nilly. Don't be surprised if tomorrow Trump imposes sanctions on Cosatu. Ayibhadlanga laa ndoda. He has instructed his Secretary of Foreign Affairs, I don't know how do they call it there, Ugothi must look at the issue of the mass killing of white farmers in South Africa, which is a fallacy. And that is a step towards Trump imposing sanctions to South Africa. And our politicians, ndikhe ndayiva enye, bathi asimoyika uTrump, hayi mna ndiyamoyika. It's no use putting a brave face against a lunatic who has got all means to destroy you in 1 second. Look what has happened in Turkey. Akadlala ubhuti Trump. Kufanele ndimhloniphe. The issue of our support as the Federation to the Cuban cause, it seems as if it has taken a back seat. There's very little exchange of leadership or shop stewards between the unions in Cuba and the unions in South Africa under Cosatu. Even the very same once mighty NUM that used to send students to do medicine in Cuba is no longer doing that. Maybe it's because of financial constraints, we are not sure of that. But it seems as if we have forgotten who liberated us in Quito Carnival. When our kids are sent to Cuba to do medicine, they end up following theology. Hey, I don't know ukuthi Cuba yaqala nini ukufundisa theology. They preach in the streets instead of following medicine because we as Cosatu, maybe individual affiliates, we don't make follow-ups on the kids that are sent to Cuba by the government. And they end up getting frustrated. Abanye bayagwazana lapha emathaveni. Sikhona singaya ngokhambotyi. And these are our kids. That is the future of South Africa. We think that we need to strengthen or revive strong ties with Cuba, individually and as a collective under Cosatu. The Trump factor comes once more when you look at Venezuela. Whatever might have killed Hugo Chavez, we don't know. But we cannot rule out the good work of the CIA in the death of Hugo Chavez. And when the bus driver was elected to lead Venezuela in the name of Nicolas Maduro, you can see what is happening in Venezuela now. Under Trump, Venezuela is rich in oil, but people are fleeing Venezuela because of poverty, because the US wants to own the oil reserves of Venezuela, and they are causing chaos. And we applaud the leadership of Nicolas Maduro for resisting the American imperialism. Brazil, the once famous Lula da Silva might be in jail now And because he was popular amongst the left, he was unpopular amongst the Americans. And what you see in Brazil today is chaos. Because the US doesn't like stability, because if there's stability, to whom are they going to sell the weapons that they are manufacturing? You see what is happening in Syria? They are bombarding through a proxy all the buildings in Syria so that the American companies can go to Syria and rebuild Syria. For sweet nothing. They've got nothing to do with Syria. They must concentrate on the wall that they are building between themselves and Mexico. Hey, another Berlin Wall is coming back now. Another Berlin Wall is coming. On the issue of the plight of the Palestinian people, sometimes, Master Singamile President, we just say, Lena impi is biblical. Kwakukho abantu okwakuthiwa ngoSamson noGoliath, kwakude kudala besilwa labantu la. We cannot fold our arms and say nothing. As South Africa, we want to applaud the government of South Africa for the action that they have taken in recalling the SA ambassador in Israel when Israel decided to move, with the assistance of the US, the capital of, the embassy of the US to Jerusalem, and unilaterally declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Bangavele bethanda bafike bathi Willowville is the capital of South Africa. Labantu, I know them. We must take more action rather than paying lip service in support of the Palestinian cause. We must pay regular visits to the Palestinian people. We have been there before. We know better how to liberate ourselves. Let's teach the Palestinians how best they can liberate themselves for a long-lasting liberation. The people of Israel, specifically the Jewish people, must not forget too soon. About 70 years ago, there was a monster called Adolf Hitler who gave them the treatment that he gave them. And the whole world was in tears, up in arms against the treatment meted by the Nazis on the Palestinians. But today, the very same people are the ones who are meeting ill treatment to the Palestinian people. Yini Thixo senzeni kangaka. We appeal to the Israeli government to desist from killing people. We allude to the idea of two states there. But as we look at things, we are going towards a one state which is called Israel. Palestine is gradually disappearing from the map of that area. Also, when you look at the issue of the Western Sahara, President, we're asking ourselves, ukuthi la madoda namakhosikazi ahlala kulo mbutho kuthiwa yi-AU, what are they doing there? If we still have in Africa a country that is being colonized by another African country, what are we saying? What are they discussing in that AU of theirs? Even if one of them is a dictator killing his own people, they will say nothing. The credibility of AU is at stake here. Where are the statesmen? and women. The AU must rain on Morocco. Morocco must relinquish Western Sahara. The Sahrawi, how you call this, how you pronounce this? Yeah, Sahrawi, whatever.
And you'll remember Rule 5.
5. Oh, thank you, President. Once more, let's appreciate that Cosatu at long last has decided to implement a long-standing resolution to affiliate to WFTU. We don't know ukuthi besidelela kwa resolution yethu na xa singayimplement ile resolution, but at long last we have decided to pay our dues to WFTU. We as NUM also pay tribute to the son of Africa who served the international community with distinction, that is Kofi Annan. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much. NUM, so that those who would not understand what I meant by Rule 5, delegates will be allowed to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes at the plenary session unless otherwise indicated. Cosatu.
President and Congress, thank you very much. President, we would like to just make our comments probably slightly procedural and would seek guidance from the table on the dilemma that we have on the engagement on politics. We first just want to start with the report itself. We would assume that the report that deals with the section on constitutional review that is set out on page 176 of the political report book is incorrectly placed, and that it should be rather placed in the organizational section of the book, where in any event it is duplicated. President, when Cosatu considered the political report, we basically confined us to a number of key areas that you thought would be very important to consider. Our dilemma, though, is that we are foreseeing a difficulty in the Congress dealing with the matter of the political report in this sense, that many of the core issues that are raised in the political report that was approved by the Central Executive Committee, all the key elements of those are actually repeated in the resolutions which are placed before Congress. So if we take some examples, the whole issue of the political economy contextualization, for example, that are mentioned in the report, the whole matter relating to the reconfiguration of the alliance and the elements relating to that, the whole issue of the SSCP's unresolved decision relating to the contestation of state power through popular elections, the matter relating to the issue of our approach as Cosatu to the 2019 general elections, the elements of the election manifesto, and then the international scenario which the comrade from NUM has spoken on, so key, and then finally the issue relating to our relationship and our understanding and conceptualization of the matter of the Popular Front issues. So having listed those issues which Cosatu is prepared to engage on now, we note, Chair, that President, if we do so now, how do we deal with the matter of the resolutions where all these elements that we've condensed from the political report actually is repeated in the resolutions without having a dual debate on the political report and also then resuscitating and repeating and ventilating the same issues when the resolutions gets raised. So seeing that we only have about 5 or 10 minutes to lunch, we would seek the guidance from the table that we're ready to engage on those matters now, immediately, or alternatively, whether you would want to reflect on how we can maximize the more effective use of time without duplicating the debate on the report and the debate on the resolutions. So we'll pause here, Chair, for your direction.
Thanks, Saktu. Indeed, in other circumstances, you would have at the same time presented the resolutions so that the discussion gets to take care of that in the course of this discussion. I've got to take that to the leadership collective, but also to Congress to give that guidance, because we must clear that area. The point is, we would have discussed at the political report space and taken certain decisions, and still come back and present resolutions on the similar issues later on, which is what Saktu is raising as a bit of an unnecessary reputation. And we could save time if we could do it differently. So I don't see the General Secretary, but I'm expecting that you should be able to guide comrades here before I take Nehau, and also Congress should be able to deal with that issue.
No, President, thank you very much. Our understanding was that as we debate the report, we also link to discussion to the resolution, and we take a decision around those issues. That's how we thought it will happen. I think that's the, yeah.
If that helps, perhaps I would want to check Saktu.
Chair, let us make a firm proposal on the matter then. Our proposal is that when we return from lunch, that we don't re-debate the whole political report, that those affiliates who have tabled political resolutions motivate that, and we debate those resolutions, and then we raise our issues from the political report as we debate the resolutions. Our preparation has shown that the resolutions are actually capturing the core issues on which this Congress must have a debate. Now, what informs the Saktu position is just a simple matter, President. It is that in our experience, we can have endless hours of debate around politics. And at the end of the day, as important as it is just words. Not to rubbish it, to put it more crudely, but what the role and the duty of the Congress is having contextualized the matter of politics, having received the report, what is to be done, what are the decisions that we want to take, that we want to mobilize our forces on the ground around. That is the role that, in our view, as Saktu, that Congress must play in the conclusions of the political debate. So, in summary, our proposal is, as we adjourn for lunch, we come back and we go directly into the debate on the resolutions on politics.
Thank you very much. Saktu, I can accept applause of applause if we all agree with that approach, because it's progressive in its nature. It takes us quite forward, but I will allow Nehau to do exactly what we're doing, because we're still left in my watch with about 7 minutes, which is equivalent to one delegate speaking. Nehau.
We're here, President.
Okay.
Thank you, Comrade President. We're here as Nahau. Firstly, President, we want to present as directed by the DGS, that we present our position as we present political resolutions. And we want to welcome the political report as presented, and we note its analysis of the international class balance of forces. But given the complexity of the world situation today, President, it is our view that a more scientific assessment of the international situation has to be articulated by Cosatu. We can't be ambiguous by the fact that we're in an age of imperialism, and imperialism is the most defining character of the international balance of forces today, President. In this regard, we want to propose that a Marxist-Leninist theory of imperialism ought to be central to our analysis of the world today. President, we also propose enriching the analysis itself of the political report by recognizing the following: that one, Firstly, that we are in an imperialist globalization phase in the history of the development of capitalism. And that two, that this phase of imperialist globalization is characterized by the main three features: the enormous expansion and accumulation of capital, the phase driven by international finance capital, and three, neoliberalism is the basic ideological framework underlying this development. So in this regard, President, we think that Cosatu must do more on its international work. Firstly, we are proposing that we strengthen the international work of Cosatu through research. We are proposing that we do more on solidarity campaigns. President, the Federation has not been active and vocal.
Just pause now. I will pause your minute. I was going to complain later about the noise of comrades outside there, which comes inside. But I'm coupling that with a complaint against Congress with the noise that comes also from internal whilst a delegate is speaking. Please, comrades, continue now.
Thank you, President. Now, President, on this work, we think that we're covered by the NUM on Venezuela, that we must do more on Venezuela in supporting Venezuela against the US imperialist aggression. On Palestine, we want to reaffirm our 11th and 12th National Congress resolutions. But on this one, President, we want to remind the ANC delegation present here that the ANC 54th National Conference resolved to downgrade the Israeli embassy, and we want speed to happen in that regard. On Swaziland, we want President to lobby Congress that we intensify the campaign to release Amos Mbitsi in Swaziland and strengthen the Swaziland Solidarity Network. President, we don't agree with the characterization of the principal contradiction in the world today as that of colonialism or recolonization of countries commanding massive resources. We think that the principal contradiction remains imperialism. And Lenin directed us on this matter. We're emphasizing this point of characterizing the current phase we're in. It is not colonization, it is imperialism. President, we want to speak to a quotation by Nzimande in the report, that whose aim is to negate the importance of the successive Communist International up to the third, which were an important part of the history of international working class movement. We neither recognize the Fourth International nor the International Marxist Review as sources that are a continuation of theoretical positions of Marxist-Leninists. That quotation, President, is misleading Congress, and we are proposing that we reject it as it is. Lastly, President, we are proposing that the Congress resolutions which we are presenting on page 56 are adopted by Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nehau. Thanks indeed. I'm told that Sanlam is here and they want to give you money if you succeed in the competition that they are going to be announcing shortly. So I'm trying to get a sense of how far are they now, so that when we break, they would have presented their lotto. When the capitalism is entangling you wherever you go. Sanlam, are you here? Whilst, because I'm not going to allow the next union, which will be disrupted by that process, and the unions after Nehau have spoken, it's going to be Pop Crew and the teachers, and they will speak after lunch with Limusa following them, as I am waiting for Sanlam. Because now it is 1 o'clock. Yeah. Sanlam wants to run the program with me here. They're holding us to ransom.
We are running a competition today, actually for the past yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But yesterday we couldn't conduct the draw for the winner. So what will be happening, actually, we'll be conducting 2 draws, actually today and tomorrow, and 1 this evening. The rules are simple. All the members are eligible for the draw, except the NOBs and the staff of Cosatu. So without wasting any time, because I know that abantu balambile bafuna uyafika lunch, we will ask one of the NOBs to pull one name there, and then we'll announce it. And also, if the person is not here, we'll continue and draw the next one. Okay. The name that has been drawn, its surname is Mona. The name is Peter. Is Mona here? 3, 2, 1. Mona Mrs. Ukon. Upamona. Masumbon. Akakumona, we continue. The next one is Ukolane. The surname is Bester from Newcastle. Is Kolane here? Kolani. Bester. Hey, Kolani, Agako. Let's try again. Okay, I hope we have a winner now. The name is Malibongwe, surname Ndame, from Butterworth. Ukon. Malibongwe Ndame. Hey, maybe Freddie will be last. Okay, we have a lady here. Surname is Maponya. Igama uRamasela. Ukhona sis? Ramasela Maponya. You. I guess I tell you, let's do it after lunch because Ingadaband already they've gone for lunch.
Amandla, no, comrades, I hope akusingo maka branch person le atayicula ati agenda ma capital ayifuneki, that's why abantu basaba la. Cha imali le ma comrade. Ama capital anemali ezinkulu lapha nje abazanikeza 10,000 rand. And so, but let's do it after lunch, comrades. We will call you. Huh? Nitayipele manje. Okay.
Okay, his name Uzulu. Igama Unomasa Laser. I hope she's here. Nomasa Laser Zulu. Ukona? Honestly.
Can we break for lunch? We'll come back at 1, at 2. Sure.
Thank you.